Hello and welcome to Thursday on the PEG channel. This is the Savage Universe stream, and I am grateful to be here with two illustrious creators. I have Jan and Cyril. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Hi, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
How are you doing today?
Great.
Yeah, well, just fine.
Just as great as can be after 8 hours of normal day job.
So. Yeah, it's the reason we've moved this stream earlier in the day is because it's really late in the day for both of you guys. So I appreciate you working with me on getting this together and set up so that we can talk about some projects that you guys have going on. Let's start with the one that I actually wrote an article for on Savage Universe, Grimoire. Give us the lowdown on it.
So Grimoire contains 4 arcane backgrounds, which are not really connected, but they share some similarities. And that's they are the people who have these arcane backgrounds may be shunned by regular folk, maybe scapegoats to blame when something terrible happens, as they are seen as something weird and a bit unnatural. And these arcane backgrounds are Ghostwalker, which is a person that can travel in a ghost form, and the only way it can activate powers is in that ghost form. The second one, Pneumomancer, is a friend of ghosts. He can talk to ghosts and spirits. He can use them. He can have them as his companions, and also he can activate a spirit blade, a weapon made of ghostly stuff. The third one, Venator, is a monster hunter. It's it's pretty obvious. It's based on famous monster hunter, and yeah, well, that's all I say for now. And the last one, witch hunter, that's a person who hunts witches and other arcane users, although he himself is arcane user as well. some people asked if he shouldn't be based on faith. I mean, his abilities shouldn't be based on faith, but I have it as a possibility that it can be changed, that it's based on spirit and faith. But I like that he himself has a spell casting, so he actually is one of the things that he hunts.
So what I liked about these arcane backgrounds, I love the idea of none of these are, let's call them villainous
No.
arcane backgrounds, but all of them, like the common folk, have superstitions around each of these, right? So you have two that are very much, we want you around when we have a problem. Now get the hell out. And then you have two that are very much can be seen in, by sort of the general populace of a setting as evil or corruptive, even though they're not. So why did you approach these like this?
Well, it all started with the Monster Hunter because I love that kind of Monster Hunter. I read it back in early 90s when it was first published here, long before it was published in English and long before it had computer games and well, I thought maybe I should add some other arcane backgrounds to that, and I came up with the name Grimoire as spells, and Grim because the arcane backgrounds are grim, and Ire because they might incite ire.
Yeah, I like the play on words in the title.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. And so I decided to go this way. And well, at first I wanted to do 7 of them because 7 is a magical number. But later I've decided to cut it down a bit and go only with 4. The other 3 might see the light of day later, but for now there are 4 of them.
Very cool. Now we've got some slides to show off, but let's hold off on those because there's another project that the two of you have been kind of working on together, the City Guard Chronicles, which is one of my favorite swag products.
Yes, it's the work of many people, let's say, but for each of them, me and Cyril cooperated. The first one we wrote together, and for the other ones, he's helping me with the archetypes, and we are discussing all parts of the project. And he's about to write another one, if I might tease it here.
Yes.
So, Cyril, why don't you give us an overview if somebody's coming in fresh, what is the City Guard Chronicles about?
It's a setting or mini setting, depending how you look at it. It's a setting where you play cops, but in medieval fantasy. So you have dragons, monsters, spells, and whatever you want, but you are part of the city guards, and you should protect the city from all the evil which is running around. Jan talked about this idea some months before the February event that Alb ran. I was looking for an idea for something for this event, and suddenly I said, "Oh, maybe I could build a scenario for an adventure for Jan's setting." And it works that I forced him to finish the setting part, and he challenged me to finish the adventure in time, and we got started like this. And then we said, yeah, let's publish one adventure per month. It takes a bit more time than that, but we try to keep some pace. So having 4 different writers for the adventures now, working a bit in parallel, helps getting some flow to the publication, so that people actually get some episodes, so you can play the first one, wait for second one, like a series. And each adventure is the same but different. It's all investigation, but they are quite different in what you fight, in how you investigate. It's pretty interesting.
Well, I plan on doing a Savage Universe article on the City Guard Chronicles next week. So if people are interested in it, go check out the news. It'll go live Monday or Tuesday of next week. Yes, Landauer, I do think the world needs more fantasy cop settings, but I think you might be specifically biased in your opinion on fantasy cop settings. And speaking of Fast, Fun, Furious February, we're going to have Alb on the stream. He's going to be, I think, the first stream of the new year to kind of get everyone excited about this year's February creator event. So if you love Savage Worlds and you have wanted to dabble in creating something, or you are a creator of Savage Worlds content, this is a big event that's going to be going on in February. We're going to have a lot of coverage of it on Savage Universe. So check that out. The first Thursday in January, we'll have Alb on to talk about that. Sorry, I've got to hype the future streams. That's how I earn my living here at in the Savage Universe. Well, do you guys want to? So, Jenny, you're working on a ton of different things. I'm going to throw up this slide. Why don't you walk us through the slide to just? First of all, it's beautiful.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, well, these are all the things that I've worked on. I do my own stuff that I publish. I first published Vent Magic back in 2020, and I followed that up with The Cleaners, which is just a small product which was inspired by a comment by Chris Hussey, who said that next I should do Gong Farmers and Rat Catchers. So yeah, well, those are two arcane backgrounds there. Gong Farmer.
So we're talking like traditional medieval Gong Farmers.
Yep.
All right. Hey, I play a lot of Warhammer Fantasy, so I'm familiar with both Gong Farmers and Rat Catchers as like career options.
Yeah, well, this is something like that.
Yeah.
So, and after that, I talked to Sid the Squid, and we decided to do Shadowcraft together.
Now, I've got to say that threw me off. I think we were talking about it beforehand, because the first thing I ever wrote was the setting for a Fate supplement called Shadowcraft. And I thought that these two things were somehow linked, and they are not. Can you just tell, for my own edification, what is Shadowcraft that you worked on?
Shadowcraft is an arcane background for a person that is heavily influenced by darkness, stealth, the veil between life and death, and all the powers spur forward from this connection to shadow. It was originally Sid's idea, and he published it as well. But we just threw ideas back and forth. And, well, this is what we ended up with.
Alan's in the chat and said, don't forget that you are also the goalkeeper for Section D.
Actually, yes, though my official title for Section D is Chief Smartass.
Oh, nice.
It's a gorgeous book.
Yes.
It certainly is.
So you're, it is graphic design advisor and chief smartass.
Yep.
is right there under all of the interior illustrations.
Yeah,
Love
that's
it.
me. Smart ass.
Nothing gets past you. That's why you're the goalkeeper.
Yeah, and speaking of Alan, he is actually the one who wrote the second adventure in the City Guard Chronicles, The Case of the Missing Daughter. But he originally wrote it years ago. And when I published the first City Guard Chronicle title, he said that we could rework this one for the guards as well. So that's what we end up with. And I think it went quite well. It's very different from the first one. And well, I originally saw that because it was already written, I just had to do some rewrites.
There you go.
It will be quite fast, and it took almost half a year. Well, no, more than half a year to finish it, and it is way longer than the first one. So yeah, that's the other things I published are the City Guard Chronicles. The original idea I had for quite a few years. It was based on Hawke and Fisher novels by Simon R. Green, because I like them very much. And so I wanted to do something similar. And I even approached him through his agent if I could adapt one of his stories with different names, but the same story. And he said yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's really awesome. And so one of those will be in the future. So far there are two of them. And as we speak, I'm finishing the third one, which the story was written by Don Osborne, a new author, and I think it's really great. It's really well thought out. I like it very much. So I hope I'll finish it till the end of this week.
Very cool.
So outside of writing, I also do graphic design for fellow SWAG authors. And the first one I did was Sprawl Runners. Some people might know that one.
I think we've heard of that one.
Yeah, probably. And well, it was. I actually started doing that before I even published Vent Magic.
Okay.
So that was the first one I did, and then last year I also did graphic design for Christian's Martial Options, Allies Enhanced, and Settingless titles. And funnily enough, it started by listening to Manuel of Sprawl Runners doing his podcast, and he was talking about some SWAG titles. And one of those was one of Christian's, and he said it's really great SWAG title. It's there is a lot of interesting things, but it could have a bit nicer layout. So after hearing that, I thought maybe I should finally return to doing what I like so much after about a 3-year hiatus. And I approached Christian, and I did graphic design for one of his titles, and then we continued cooperating on the all the other ones.
Well, speaking of that, I believe Settingless is there's a bundle that you can get now that's on sale, If you go over to
Yes.
Savage Universe, it's the top news story right now that they're both of Christian's bundles are on sale. So go check them out.
Yeah, they are really great. I recommend them.
Speaking of, I'm going to put a link in the chat. This will take you to the City Guard Chronicle bundle so that you can check that out. Again, I highly recommend it. I'm looking forward to writing the articles on next week. So,
yeah, that's great.
Agreed,
Looking
Landau.
forward to it.
Yeah.
And well, another graphic design I did recently, though I started it a year ago, is Void Runners, which is fantasy pirates in space.
What's not to love about that?
Yep. And actually, the idea for that, I mean, for doing the layout for this one, came from last year summer showcases stream, where there was Cyril, Ellen of Section D, and James with Void Runners. And well, after that, I approached him if maybe we could do a bit nicer layout for Void Runners, because it's a really large setting. It has almost 200 pages, and it's quite well thought out. So yeah, well, it took me a year to do that, although almost 6 months I haven't touched it.
So Tinker Hellraiser had a question. Do you like doing writing or graphic design more? Because she caught you saying getting back to what you love and doing more graphic design work again.
Well, actually, I thought Savage World by that. But it's hard to say. I love both. Though it has been a bit hard for me to start writing because I'm not a native English speaker, and I need to concentrate more for writing than I do for graphic design. So
That's fair.
yeah, but I love both equally, I would say. So that's all the stuff I did. The whole PDFs. But then years back, I did a cover design for Cyril's Companions and Familiars, his first release. And well, he actually took what I did and he's using it for all the other ones.
Yeah, basically you pick a title which has a bad design and said, but this title is nice, I like it. And you say, hey, can I rework something for you? I could not say no. I mean, it will be more beautiful than before. So
right.
I learned a lot, and I asked for the covers that I can switch myself some colors, and so I could have some autonomy to work a bit alone on the others. But in the end, Jan is doing most of my proofreading. You work on all my titles. You do some banners for me. Also, you do some advertisement on Facebook for me. It's my marketing guy, in fact. Yeah.
Tinker Hellraiser is my marketing guy. So.
Well, yeah, this is actually how I learned to work with the software, because I have never done anything like that before I started with Savage Rose products. So I actually learn while doing all this. And I need to train myself. So that's why I do it.
Well, let's jump over to Cyril, because Cyril, you have a new setting coming out as well.
Yes, I have too many things going on right now. I am working a lot for the French community, writing articles and trying to publish things in French. It's a bit tough to talk to the French publisher and get to the point where we can publish something. But I chose to become ACE in September or something like this to publish a setting which I would like to have both in French and English, and it will be well, I will call it a mini setting, but in the end, I don't know how mini it will be because it starts to get a bit too large.
This is the map for it, correct?
Yes, I started with a map. It's a setting which will be heroic fantasy with Arabian Nights, I would say, behind it. The idea is to take the golden age of Arabia from our time and expand upon it with fantasy. So it's a golden age that is people are more or less at peace. And so they have time to search, discover, do some science, try to irrigate the desert, know a bit more, search a bit more about genes, and stuff like this. And the part at the northeast of the desert, which is more brown than the other parts, are an area where there used to be some civilization long time ago, and some catastrophe happened. This place is now quite unknown, and so it is a time for discovery. And so expedition will go there and try to discover what happened and what's there.
And you got a piece of art here as
Yes.
well. Let me get that. Let me get that that shared as well.
So
Because this piece is gorgeous.
I hired an artist, a French artist, who has worked on books and on role-playing games and tabletop games too, board games. And I asked him for a cover. We worked together, and that's the result. This should be one city, Vazir, which is a kind of twin city with some Nausicaa vibe, with a lot of wind energy set in the city. The idea is you have plateau like mesa in the desert, and the city went on top of this plateau, where you get a bit more water and wind from that, so more vegetation, so you can live easier there, and so some culture rise from this plateau. Yes.
It is. I agree with everybody who's like, this is a evocative piece. Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Thank you. I like it too.
So what's the? I mean, we won't hold you to anything. But what's the timetable on? Is there one?
When it's ready, I would like it to be ready for March or something like this next year. But there are a lot of work still left to do. I'm working with a friend to write some adventures for it. So the more I talk and work with people, the more content we try to add. So at some point, I will have to choose exactly what goes inside and cut. So the setting is called The Sands of Geishir.
Okay.
Initially, it was a campaign I ran from France in Shintar. in Chinatown, you have a small place which is a desert, and I focused on the desert and ran a campaign. And then I said, okay, but I do not want to publish for Chinatown and want to change things that I didn't like in the desert in Chinatown. Especially the desert is a bit too small, and there are some politics which I wanted to have different. So I decided to move the setting, to create a small setting to be able to publish my campaign. But at this point, I will publish the setting first, and the campaign will come later, because else I will never have something published.
I know how that works. Like I feel that pain.
Mm.
Now, Jan hinted that there's some new City Guard Chronicles content upcoming in the near future. Can you give us some spoilers or some insight on that?
I think like 12, maybe 8 months ago, I said that I will write another adventure for Jan, which is an adventure I ran from France like 2 or 3 years ago, but it's in French, so the only work I had to do is to translate it in English.
I like how you put that in air quotes. My wife used to work to help translate The Dark Eye, which is the German role playing game, into English, and she was on the editing / rewriting / writing team for that process, because that is translation is a very intensive process.
Yeah, so I have to translate it in English, but also to make it fit a bit better in City Guards Chronicles. So, and as usual, you have so many things to do that I didn't really started to work on it like before 2 weeks ago. So it will come. It should be the next one. Maybe not the next, but the next after next. I don't know. You will tell me. So this is one thing I work with for City Guard Chronicles, and we also have the plan to publish an archetype book for City Guard Chronicles. All the archetypes we didn't present how the City Guards Chronicles episodes are. So in the City Guards Chronicles, which are about 30 pages each, maybe some are a bit larger, 40, but you have about 10 pages, which are the settings, the rules, how you play cops in the fantasy setting. Then you have the adventure itself, and then you have 8 archetypes. And we try to make new archetypes with each episode. But the episode itself do not require the fantasy companions and do not use fantasy ancestries.
Okay.
Because we wanted that everybody could pick the adventure, pick the archetypes, and play in their setting. So we didn't want to put too many stress on the first PDFs. The archetype book will take all the existing archetypes, add new ones, and twist them using Fantasy Companion and using Ancestry. So you will have an Orc Sergeant or Elf Captain or something like this. This will come in some month when it's ready.
I'm looking forward to it. So when it's ready, you let me know. We'll blast it on Savage Universe.
Perfect.
All right. So jumping back over to you, I like having both of you on here at the same time. This is fantastic. You guys, like, obviously your swag and Savage Worlds careers are sort of interwoven, but it also allows me to bounce back and forth. So Jan, you have something called the Box of Nuggets. That is a bundle.
Yes. All my titles, which are not City Guard Chronicles so far, are pieces that can be inserted in a setting. That's why when I published Vent Magic, I gave it a line title, Setting Nuggets. And so far I published 3, plus there's Shadowcraft, which is also in the bundle, which is not published by me, but it is close to the other ones. So we've decided with Sid that we will include it. And there are plans for other titles, which you can see on the right. Explorer's Log, that is actually the first ever title I started writing. But I haven't finished it yet. And I hope it will be the next one I'll finish. And it's about explorers in starships, visiting new worlds and doing stuff there. I mean, there will be some new edges, some arcane backgrounds, all based on the idea of being explorers, visiting new worlds and exploring them. Second title that I hope will come quite soon are Urban Heroes. The idea is to take fantasy races, but by that I mean races like gargoyle or a vampire or werewolf, and make them playable as novice characters with edges, added racial edge or ancestry edges added, which can be taken later. So they will be quite weak on par with ancestries like human or elf or dwarf, but will be based on these fantasy creatures. The third one, Price to Pay, it's about more or less real-world artifacts from our history, which can be used in either a fantasy or modern setting, but each of these artifacts will be quite powerful, but it also will have some disadvantages and sometimes major ones. And the last one, Handle with Caution, it's there will be beasts and monsters which fit nicely in urban fantasy settings.
Well, I gotta say, I'm excited about Price to Pay. I'm right there with you, Alan. I love magical artifacts that have costs for their access to power.
Yeah, that's exactly the idea. What I want to do with it. I have a lot of notes, but I haven't started really writing it yet. So,
well, you've got gorgeous covers, so that's one hurdle behind you.
Yeah, well, usually when I think up a new title, the first thing I'll do is the cover. So, because that makes me like it and want to do it more and more. So that's how I usually start. And you might have noticed I like those round objects on the cover.
I see that kind of. It almost has got like a portal look to it, right? Like you're looking through the book cover onto a scene. Well, let's wrap up with, we got 2 slides left that I'm excited about sharing. So we have the case of the Siren Song, which is part of the City Guards Chronicles.
Yes, that's the one Don Osborne wrote, and it's really near finish. I just need to do the layout on 4 archetypes, write half a page of prologue, and do some links. I hoped I would have it finished for today, but well, that didn't work out.
Life.
Yep. So I think it should be published this week because there's really not that much to do on there. And after that, if you can give
Yep.
the other.
Oh yeah, got it right here.
Okay. So these three should have been published before the Siren Song. That was before I knew we will have a new author for City Guard Chronicles. And well, I start with the case of the Mountain Light because that's the one Cyril talked about. And it will be the first time the guards will actually go outside of the city.
What? No, it's the City Guard Chronicles.
Yeah, but they have sometimes to escort nobles so that the nobles pay the city guard. You see, something like this.
Yes, they are cops, but well, they do what they tell them to do, and sometimes they just have to leave the city. Don't worry, some parts of the adventure will still be in the city, but some will not. Well, and as Cyril said, the idea is for each adventure to be different. So
Right.
then there is the case of the guardhouse siege, which originally I thought I will write all by myself. Now it looks like Don Osborne will be helping me to write it, and it's not exactly an investigation, though there will be investigation in the course of the adventure, but it's more about defending a prisoner from being rescued or killed. And it's a bit inspired by the attack on Precinct 13 movie, but only in the general idea.
Okay.
And then small cases, those that will be just a collection of short savage tales and encounters with guards doing guard stuff.
Well, I got two questions left for you guys before I know it's really, really late for you. So
That's
my initial plan was a half hour and we've blown well past that. So
as usual.
if you guys were going to give advice to new swag authors or people who are wanting to get into the licensee program for Savage Worlds, what advice would you give them?
What a question. First, maybe to read what already exists and to understand the spirit general idea of Savage World. To make sure that you build a product that is within the idea, within the philosophy of Savage World, and then start with something small, a small adventure or a small nugget or something. Write it. Ask Jan for a cover or for some layout, and you are good to go.
Well, all right. So I'll dovetail in my second question right now. So, Jan, are you available for people to seek you out on Discord? And
he doesn't have time. He has to work on City Guard Chronicles.
Well, yes and no. I shouldn't be because I have so many projects, even ones we haven't mentioned yet, or we will not mention today in the works. But I can't help myself. Sometimes I just get excited on some other people's project, and I offer to do the layout and the cover. And if it's a small project, it just takes a few days, so that's not a problem. But well,
And both of you guys are active on the unofficial Savage Worlds Discord, so
yes, we are.
yeah.
Yes, too much. I am a bit less active these last months on the English Savage World Discord, but I also became very active on the French Savage World Discord. And I also spent some time to demonstrate adventures to new players, because Savage World is very niche in French. In France, it's not very well known. So I'm trying to run some one sheets over the night or at conventions. And I played like 4 times, I believe, the first Stick World Chronicles adventure, and everybody likes them. So publish more, GT. Please publish more, so I can change the adventure I'm running at each convention.
What about you, Jan? What advice would you give to aspiring swag creators?
Well, don't be afraid to get it out there, and don't be afraid to ask for advice. It's always better to show it to someone first before publishing, ask for their opinion, for their feedback, and there are a lot of helpful folk on the unofficial Savage Worlds Discord who will gladly help and give some advice. That's how we all started. All I learned from Richard Woolcock at the beginning, and I'm really grateful to him. And I learned a lot from Manuel Sams as well and other authors. So it's a great way to do it. Ask for advice and try to listen to the advice as well.
Yes. Well, you're unfortunately, Alan is in the chat saying that you are the person, you give great advice, and so I think he's setting you up to just be inundated with chats. Richard's actually in the chat.
When we give advice, sometimes we forget to say what is good about the title. We tend to say you should change that, or this is not how you would write it in Savage World. So please bear with us, be kind, and try to accept our advice like a way to improve, and not that we are putting down or your product. That's not the idea. The idea is that your product should be of a better quality, so that every product in Savage World should be in the community should be of better quality, so that people know that swag means something and can buy your product without thinking, will not be good. So
right. Well, and I think that's the thing to remember, right? Is that everybody who's looking at this, and if you share it, they love Savage Worlds as much as you do, and they want to see you succeed. So when they give you feedback, take that as their advice on how to succeed in this arena.
Yeah, and I would like to add one more source for new aspiring authors. Listen to the backlog of Savage interludes, because I learned really a lot listening to them. Unfortunately, there are no new episodes anymore, but the advice they give there, it's precious.
Very cool. Well, thank you guys so much for staying up late and joining us here on Savage Universe. I'm so glad that we were able to make this happen.
Thank you very much for having us, as usual. It's always a pleasure to be there.
Anytime you guys want to come on the show, you just let me know, and this time slot is always available.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you.
Now, next week, I actually am going to have the Savage Goose on Savage Universe stream. Savage Goose is doing Savage Worlds content on YouTube. If you are not following the Savage Goose, go over to YouTube right now and give him a follow. Look at the stuff that he's putting together. We're going to have him on next week. So, thanks, Landauer. Your comments and rooting for me have not gone unnoticed. I will say no more than that. I'll farm the gong. So, with that, until next time, get out there and play some Savage Worlds, everybody. I hope all of your dice ace, and check out City Guard Chronicles and Box of Nuggets on Drive-Thru RPG. Until then, next time, have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.